So starting your own business is not easy. Today I'm gonna go through some of the things that I found, some of the things I've learned, even go through some of the finances. Let's get to it. For those of you who are new to the channel, I started a business about a year ago. I've decided to start my own business. So prior to that, I was just a guy that liked to work in my garage, build some cars, but then I lost my full-time employment. I looked quite a bit for other employment, it just didn't happen, and so I thought maybe I could turn this into a full-time gig. So this is the 1-year update of my business. We go through some of the finances right here. Lots of times I'll use a whiteboard. Today we're just using this handy dandy chart. So first we're gonna go over some of the income streams and break those into kind of sections that you can understand. And then we'll go through some of the costs and expenses. First up, I'm gonna call this my car conversion business. This is things like all the customer cars. So this includes everything that the customer pays for. If they're paying for a motor, if they're paying for labor, things like that, that includes everything here. So for the car business, we've got $133,000. Next, we'll talk about YouTube and the YouTube sponsorships. So believe it or not, YouTube is not very profitable for me. So for the last 12 months, it's just under $14,000. I would love for that to be more. It would open up a lot more doors. We could do a lot more creative things, but it's not. And also, believe it or not, the sponsorships end up being a lot more profitable than YouTube itself. So for the sponsorships, it's just under $27,000. This includes all the advertisements, just like this one. All right, today we have a mini chainsaw from Innocraft. It looks like a shark. All right, it even has a battery and a charger. It's got 2 batteries, work twice as long. This is the power indicator. All right, so you can take off the cover and check out underneath. It's got a brushless motor and some good chainsaw teeth. Let's go put it to the test. All right, so this is the shop, and we have kind of behind the shop, we got some area that's a little overgrown. Got this tree that always dumps like just these huge branches. So this is one that came down in a storm. We're gonna use this new tool and chop it up. So I tell you, it works pretty good. It doesn't like, I'll say aggressive, like putting a lot of leverage on it, but it makes pretty short work of all those little branches. So this is the Innocraft mini cordless chainsaw. It comes with a powerful brushless motor. It has an intelligent chip system which boosts power when you need it. It comes with 2 amp-hour batteries. That's about 80 plus cuts in softwood. It has a self-lubricating system, and the top part that looks like a shark fin is extra handle you can grab onto. It also has a tool-free chain tightening system. The other thing that's really nice is they do have a guard, but it is transparent, so you can still see what you're doing. And again, it cuts really cleanly, really easily. You don't kind of have to lean on it, it just kind of cuts right through. It does have a speedy recharging, meaning in about 35 minutes you can recharge the full battery. And it is really nice that it is very small and you can put it basically on a shelf or anywhere out of the way. So the electric chainsaw made really quick work of everything. It was very easy, very light, just chopped through everything pretty easy. It's very quiet, which I like. The other thing is, typically I would do this like with my Sawzall, and I'd have to bring out the extension cord and drag it all around and get it everywhere I want, and then sometimes it'd get unplugged, things like that. So this is nice, it's battery powered, and 1 battery, I mean, it still says I'm like on full power, and I've kind of done all this work. So if you're interested in a tool like this, I'll leave a link in the video description below. So these sponsors really make it possible to do what I do. So some of the things they look for is they want to see how many people click on the link. Please go visit their site. It helps the channel, it helps them. Buy it if you're interested. All right, next I've got kind of a, I'll call it miscellaneous category, other. This would be things like consulting, kind of sales of miscellaneous parts, things like that where I try and recoup some money. Because believe it or not, I do not have 8 EV chargers. I will often try and sell those. Next we have Patreon. This is $2,300, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this. So for me, Patreon is great. I love when I'm working on something I'd like to show somebody. It's like, hey, look at what I'm working on. That's Patreon for me. If you want to get a closer look on inside of things, behind the scenes types of things, you can support me on my Patreon. That's in the link in the video description. Next, we have Amazon affiliates. That's about $260 for the whole year. So I do have an affiliate account. I leave links in the video description. That's for things like tools I use, maybe the camera, things like that. I'll leave a link in the video description. And if you guys click on those links, even if you don't buy that thing, if you navigate to another item in Amazon, it will give me a small commission when you make that purchase. All right, the last is merchandise. So I do have shirts and things that I offer. This is $95. So I don't know how to explain this, but there are some people that, man, like merchandise is just their thing, and they know how to make it work, and it's awesome for them. It's just not me. I just don't know how to make cool stuff, I guess. So that is the income side. So this is the grand total. So all those revenue streams together is $184,000. That is not what I get to keep. So let's go through the expenses. So on the car business side, I've got $65,000 in expenses. Now you might be thinking, geez, that's a lot. This includes things like the motor. So meaning if a car needs a motor, I will source a motor and I will buy the motor. The car owner will essentially pay me or reimburse me for that motor, but that comes as an expense. So for those sorts of things, I just pass through the cost. So the $133,000 for the business, that seems like, hey, that's a lot of money. Some of that cost is just passed through. So buying a motor and getting reimbursed for that motor. So next is labor. So you've probably seen, I've had an intern now for probably about a year, close to a year. And I've also got a new guy that's kind of part-time. His name's John. We'll get to his intro, I think, probably next video. So for the year, that's $9,700. So I think John's pretty new, so I think he was maybe just December. But we're hoping that number goes up quite a bit because I think with John and some other help, we can get these projects done quicker. We can get more revenue coming in faster. That reminds me, I am looking for some good help. So if you are in the Salt Lake City area and looking for a job kind of like this, please email me, electricsupercar@gmail.com. I will also say, if you've got some good CAD skills, you don't have to be local. Lots of my work is done in CAD. We'll do some scanning work, and then from that scan, we'll actually need to create brackets or mounts or things. So if you're good with CAD, would also like to do some contract work, send me an email as well. Next is insurance. So I do have garage insurance, business insurance for what I do. This is about $8,400. Next, we have legal fees. So these are things like for contracts, things like that. I'll pay for legal advice, for contracts to be drafted. So anyways, that's about $7,800. Video production. So most of this is things like I have an editor. Say hi, editor. Hi. So I have learned that, as you can see for YouTube, it does not pay very much. And so if I spend as much time as I feel like I need to put out a good video, it takes a ton of time. I'll show you here some videos that I've done and how much they made. I'll give you a couple of examples here from YouTube revenue. So I'll say my average views per video is kind of like 12 to 15,000. That's average. We have some that are much, much higher, some that are lower. Average earning for an average video is close to $100. So here's one that's like 75. Here's one for 96. So here's one that was actually quite a bit higher than normal. This is the video where I shared where I got hacked, about 67,000 views. Revenue on that, less than $30. So if you don't think something fishy's going on there, I don't think YouTube liked when I posted about that. Here's one of the best ones I did in the last 365 days. This one's got close to 150,000 views and it's got about $750. So you can see YouTube's great. It just doesn't pay as much as I would love it to. I just have to be better. That's kind of what it boils down to, is I just have to be better. More entertaining. So with that being said, I just want to give you kind of heads up. So I also spend money promoting YouTube. So what that means is I've learned that in order to do all the editing and things, I usually enlist a video editor and they just do kind of, I'll call it rough cuts. So they'll kind of just cut down the most critical points or most entertaining points, and then I'll do final editing. So it saves me several hours, like 5 to 10 hours every video. But that also has a cost. So the cost for video editing or video production, it's about $3,900. Again, I'm learning as a new business owner, but there's depreciation. I think that takes into account like garage space, tools, assets, things like that. So depreciation for me is $3,100. So advertising, for this year, I did go to SEMA. So I put that as an advertising expense. That was about $3,000. So I got tools, maintenance, and office supplies. It's kind of all the things I need to do to make things work. That's about $2,500. Transportation, that's where I need to go to the store, pick things up, transportation to and from the shows, things like that. So that's about $2,300. That also includes like rentals, trailer rentals, things like that. Shipping, this is about $1,000. Again, when I buy something, if there's additional shipping fees, things like that, about $1,000. Bank fees, and I'll call it PayPal fees. So when I'm making wire transfers or when people are paying me, banks, PayPal, things like that, they'll take a cut. For those fees, it's about $860. That's a lot of bank fees. So on the income side, it was about $184,000. On the expense side is about $107,000 for a total profit of around $76,000. As a new business owner and kind of working for yourself, I did have to put a large chunk away for taxes. And I'm also setting some of that aside for, I'll call it the business, so for future purchases and things like that. So I hope that gives you a little insight to the business, how we're doing. I'm sure we could be doing better. I'm really excited to get some more help. So again, if you're anxious to help, let me know. I think we can get a lot of stuff done. My hope is to get 1 or 2 more employees where we can get into a different shop, a bigger shop. One more thing I'll do before we go is I'll take you through the projects and where they are. And I'll give you a quick status update. All right, the Toyota. Where we're to, we've got the power brakes installed. We've got power steering installed. We're in the process of getting the AC and heat. So electric AC and heat for this one. We're also in the process of designing the battery box and mounting the motor. So we've got some more content for you coming up soon on that. The Porsche, it's upside down still. We did some scanning on this. Everything is completely disassembled. We're in the process of modeling the motor mounts and battery box. We did buy batteries. We may do a separate episode on that, but those are the batteries for this car. All right, the Nissan. We've got the back somewhat sorted out. So we've got the whole rear subframe from the Nissan removed. We put the whole Tesla subframe in. That's all mounted. We just did some suspension and everything's pretty much buttoned up on the back. The front, we've got a front subframe we're working on, as well as getting the motor mounted and battery box and things like that as well. The Jeep. So the Jeep is very similar progress to the Toyota. So we've got the power steering, power brakes all sorted out. So we're working on the AC and the heat. We've also got the motor mount. We got all the material ordered. We just need to weld it up to mount the motor. We're still looking at batteries and battery box for this one. Underneath this tarp is a project that I've not yet revealed. This is another customer car, and this is probably the coolest customer car you'll ever see. So I haven't revealed that one yet because I got a lot of grief for bouncing between projects a lot. So I think what I might do with that one, you guys will have to tell me in the comments, but I think what I might do with that one is I might try and build a lot of it, get a lot of the content, so I can release the videos all kind of sequentially or close together. You'll have to tell me though, because if you're anxious to see that one, I can reveal that one as well. So let me know. And no, I've not forgotten about the Porsche. This is my favorite, but this one takes a lot of money. It does not make any money. As you can see, YouTube gives me like no money. So if I did a video on this, I get $100. I spend way more than $100 doing whatever I need to do. With that being said, I am still working on things. All right, so you may recall we did the rear bumper. So we've got this all ready. We also got our custom lighting system. So that's all ready as well. I am in the middle of 3D printing front bumper or front hood section. So I'll show you a couple of the prints for that, but we are not ready yet. We've got a lot more printing to do. But yeah, just as a reminder, we got the front motor mounted, we've got the front axles made and installed. This one already had electric power steering, so we're good there. All right, so you see, got printer hard at work. So these are some of the printed parts. So you can see they're gonna be put together in various configurations to make up the front bumper or the front hood section. And I am using the new Elegoo Century Carbon. This is a brand new one that they sent me to try out, and it does an extremely good job. These are just silky smooth. So this is the new Elegoo Century Carbon. I think that's going public soon, but it is an amazing printer. And you can see it makes really good parts, really, really fast. This is probably my best printer so far. So I've tried a couple different ones, and this is one where literally I could just set it up. It printed great first time. I didn't have to touch anything, and it prints great every time. I can just hit go, walk away. Got this one hooked up to my network at home, so I can hit print from my computer upstairs, and it'll just start printing, and I don't need to worry that it's gonna like be ruined or whatever. It prints great. So if you're looking for a 3D printer, I think this is gonna be a great value. It's a great printer. I'll leave a link in the video description. I hope you enjoyed the glimpse behind the curtain, kind of get to see how everything runs, how everything works. For those longtime followers, thank you for following for so long. You've seen me from when this was just kind of a side hustle to a full-time gig. Thank you for the support. As you can see, we've got a lot more to come, a lot more on its way. See you next time. So for those fees, that's about, is that 100 and, it's about 107,000. I'm sure we can do one more thing before I go. I'll take you through the projects and I'll